Professor. Thanks to the organizers for giving me opportunity to speak at this seminar, as well as to all for you being here. I hope today's session will provide valuable insight and spark meaningful discussion.
What is blood clotting process? Blood clotting process or coagulation is a vital biological process that prevents excess bleeding when a blood vessel is injured. When a blood vessel injured, this complex process involves a series of well-regulated steps that transform liquid blood into a solid blood, acting as temporary barrier to prevent further blood loss and allowing the tissue health. The blood clotting process step by step. The first, injury to the blood vessel. When a person gets a cut or injury, the first thing that happens is damage to the wall of a blood vessel. This triggers an immediate response from the body. The exposed area inside the blood vessel releases a signal that starts the clotting process. The signal attracts platelets and activates clotting factor. The second, vascular spasm or vasoconstriction. Right after the injury, the blood vessel thickens or constricts. This is called vasoconstriction. The purpose of this is to reduce the amount of blood flowing to the injured area, which helps slow down bleeding. They give the body more time to form a clot and repair the damage. Vascular spasm occurs the blood vessel constricts to reduce blood flow. Next, platelet clot formation. Platelet, also called thrombocyte, are small cell fragments found in the blood. When a vessel is injured, the platelets stick the damaged wall. They also stick to each other, forming a large temporary plug to cover a break in the vessel wall. As they stick together, the platelet release chemical such as ADP and thromboxane. The chemical attract even more platelets to the site. The process is called platelet aggregation. Although this plug helps stop the bleeding, it is still fragile and needs to the strengthen. Next step, coagulation cascade activation. A series of clotting factor proteins in the blood are activated in a specific sequence. This involves two pathways. The first, intrinsic pathway, triggered by damage inside the blood vessel. Two, extrinsic pathway, triggered by external trauma. Next step, fibrin mass formation. Thrombin converts fibrinogen, a soluble protein, into fibrin. Fibrin strand from a mass that strengthens the platelet group, and the last, the mass trap blood cell and creates a stable blood clot. Next step, clot retraction and tissue repair. The clot contracts slightly to reduce its size and bring the edges of the wound closer. Healing of the blood vessel begins underneath the clot. The next, clot removal. After healing, the clot is broken down by enzyme, especially plasmin. Blood flow returns to the normal. Blood clotting is essential for supervised and disruption in this process. Whether excessive clotting or insufficient clotting can lead to serious health problems such as thrombosis or hemorrhage. Now that we've gone through the main points of the presentation, I would like open the floor for question and discussion. Please feel free to ask any question. I encourage an open exchange of ideas and perspectives as we explore this topic together. Okay, who would like to start? Okay, the first from Johanna.
Thank you to Alia, who has allowed me to ask my question is, if a mutation causes platelets to not release chemical signal, how would it affect the enterocolitis process? Thank you.
Okay, the next question. Okay, Alva.
Why is the coding outside designing as a step-by-step activation of coding factor instead of activating all at once?
Okay, thank you. The next statement.
My question is, what might happen if the body failure to carry out fibrinolysis after a clot has formed? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. I will answer the question from Johanna. Namely, the question is, if a mutation causes platelet to not release chemical signal, how would the affect the enterocolitic process? Okay, my answer is platelet release signaling chemical like ADP and thromboxane for platelets will be liquid to the injury site, weakening platelet aggregation. This will impair the formation of a strong plug, delay the activation of clotting factor, and ultimately result in slower or incomplete clotting response. Okay, can you understand my answer?
Okay, thank you, Allah. I understand. Alia, I understand.
Okay. Okay, I answer next question from Arla Natasha. Next question is, why is the clotting constraint designed as step-by-step activation of clotting factor instead of activating L at one? My answer is the step-by-step nature of clotting constraint allows for tick regulation and amplification to the response. This ensures that clotting only occurs at the site of injury and prevent unnecessary formation elsewhere in the body, which could lead to the dangerous condition like thrombosis. Okay, this is my answer. Can you understand?
Thank you to the moderator who has only to ask my questions.
Okay, the last question from Zanina. Okay, question is, what might happen if the body failed to carry out fibrinolysis after a clot has formed? Okay, my answer, if fibrinolysis does not occur, the blood clot might remain and block the blood vessel, disrupting blood flow. This could lead to the complications such as stroke, heart attack, or deep vein thrombosis depending on the location of the clot. Okay, can you understand my answer?
Yes, I understand my question.
Okay, guys, thank you for your attention and for the insightful question and contribution during the discussion. I hope today's seminar has been informative and sparked new ideas. If you have any further question or would like to continue the conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out to me after session. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone involved in making this event a success. Thank you, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Have a great day. Thank you.
Pas.